Good morning, podcast listeners. This is Ed Franklin with the Ed Franklin No Limits podcast. As promised on my social media that I was going to come out with a podcast today. You can always reach me at edfranklin.nolimits@gmail.com. If you have a guest or you'd like to be a guest, please email me and let's see what we can put together. So, in between these podcasts, I had a couple guests the last three podcasts. Actually, my last one I didn't, but I have some new guests coming up that are going to be awesome, just like the other ones. But in between this, there's always stuff that comes up, right? Stuff that comes up in life. And I'm in this mode right now where I'm just a sponge. I'm trying to learn as much as I can. I'm reading books. I'm looking at, watching videos, TED Talks, and anything I can do to kind of give myself information as when I start to do my public speaking after January 1st, I'll have information to talk about. And I'm on this path right now. I'm on a very aggressive, committed goals, I guess, that I'm taking care of it. And I'm actually crushing it. I'm feeling really good about what I'm doing, what's coming out of this. And so I read a book last week, and I'm not going to mention the name of the book because I really don't want to insult the person that wrote the book or insult the book. It was a good book. It had some very good fundamentals about cultures and companies and being happy and things like that. But I went out and I looked up the author and I watched him on some TED Talks and on some YouTube videos. And it was very odd that he was very negative about mentioning a lot of things that happen in your life. And I know that, I try to stay away from negative talk, but it is reality. I get that. You're trying to get over negatives in your life. You're trying to get over limitations. And something about today is I'm extremely frustrated with something that happened this weekend. And it's kind of built up to what I'd hoped it wouldn't do, but it did. It built up to something bad. And I'm very frustrated. I'm angry right now. And you might hear that coming through this podcast a little bit, but I promised in the beginning this was an organic podcast. And we don't all have those perfect Facebook lives, right? In fact, nobody has that life. So if you're hearing a little bit of frustration or anger, or if I drop some cuss words, I apologize. If your kids are in the car, I apologize for that. I just have some points to make. And sometimes I like to use anger to motivate me, right? To get me to do things that people don't think I can do. And I told you, when I went and saw somebody that was a world-renowned public speaker and spoke to them, and they basically told me I couldn't do it because I hadn't done anything in my life. Well, I was very dejected when I heard that. And I've said this on this podcast several times, and I'm just going to call bullshit on the guy. I've done a lot of my life. I didn't get to 59 years old without, I didn't sit on my hands. I've been involved in a lot of different things. So back to the speaker. So when he was talking about all these negative things, and I almost felt like, and maybe this was by design, he was kind of getting a person that was listening kind of down, and then maybe he was going to give some great speech after. I didn't listen to the whole thing because I was tired of listening to negative shit. I can find negative stuff anywhere, on Facebook, on social media, in my own life. I can find that. I just choose to ignore that because it's just getting caught up in this drama of life, especially on social media, and listening to this constant complaints in our government and this society, that society, and this community and that community, and crime and all these things. And we all have control over that. We don't have to be involved in that. We can choose to not to participate in that if we have goals and things we want to accomplish in life. I think that what this podcast is mostly going to be about is you, right? What are you doing to change what your future is going to look like? Who's writing your story? I know I did that on a podcast on writing your own story. If you're 16 here and you've been under your parents' care for 16 years, you've been having your story written. We get that. We all have had that happen. But you get to a point as an adult, as a senior, and you start saying, you know what, I want to write the story. When I'm done in a year or 6 months, 3 months, or whatever it is, I want to be responsible for what I did in those 3 months, right? Is stuff going to happen? Absolutely. Is some negative stuff going to happen? 100%. Something's going to happen. Someone's going to say something to you, but you've got to be able to put that aside. If you want to help people, if you want to be a good leader, if you want to be a good manager, if you want to be a good parent, you're going to have to use this metaphor of airplane masks, right? We all been on an airplane, most of us, probably 99% of us. And they always come out and talk to you about the seat belts, how they work. And if an oxygen mask drops down from the ceiling, you're supposed to put your oxygen mask on first before you put your children's on. Now, reality is you'd want to put your oxygen mask or the oxygen mask on your child, right, to get them to breathe. But the thing is if you're not breathing and you're not able, you can't help them. The same goes for your life. If you're not doing those things, if you're not feeding your mind with good nutrition, if you're not doing those things, if you're not at 100% capacity, you can't help the people that work for you. You can't help the people you're leading. Doesn't matter if you're a priest or a pastor or a manager or a leader or an owner of a company, a CEO. If you don't have it together, you can't help the people that are under you, right? Or that you're responsible for. So it's a great metaphor. And what I do is I text myself during the week, is oddly enough, and I'll put little notes that I think of. And then I have the notes up here on my computer and I look at those, and that's kind of how I formulate what I'm talking about today. And like I said, you're going to hear some frustrating. You got to be able to hear the frustration of my voice. I feel like I'm yelling into the microphone right now, but it's all due to some things that transpired that I just didn't care for. And I'm not one of these people that sit on my hands and, just let it happen to me. I will fight back. Scottie Pippen. If you are not aware of who Scottie Pippen was, he played on the Bulls with Michael Jordan. He was Michael Jordan's right-hand man. And he's getting ready to come out with a book, and he's been talking a lot about Michael Jordan and how Michael Jordan is selfish and how Michael Jordan is this, and how when Michael Jordan made this series on Netflix about The Last Dance, that he didn't get enough credit, and it was all about Michael Jordan. No shit, it was about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is a polarizing individual. My favorite basketball player, in my opinion, the greatest basketball player ever. Don't care about your opinion, to be honest with you. That's just mine. You may think it's LeBron, and that's fine. That's all subjective, right? It's all what we saw. I grew up with that in that era. And I think Scottie Pippen is one of these people that would not have been great on his own. He was a great player. He wasn't Michael Jordan, but he was a great player. And I think that, what's wrong with that? I mean, I've said on my last podcast with Mike Pierce that in the book Good to Great, or I might have said it in another one, they talked about level 5 leaders. I'll never be a level 5 leader. I don't have the personality for it. And it's okay. Level 3 leaders are awesome leaders too. So are level 4 leaders. Sometimes we just have to take our place in life. And Scottie Pippen, I got news for you. If it wasn't for Michael Jordan, you wouldn't even know who Scottie Pippen is, as far as I'm concerned. My point to that is not to insult Scottie Pippen. He's a great basketball player. I can't do his job. He doesn't know me from Adam. And if he did, he would not be happy with what I just said. But it's okay to take that great place in life. I mean, why not? I would have, it's a 1 in a bazillion chance you would even be at Michael Jordan's level or his level. Just be happy with where you're at. He should be thanking Michael Jordan for what he did for him, not insulting him. And it's getting worse. And typical Michael Jordan, he doesn't say anything about it. He just goes on and is Michael Jordan. The reason he's who he is because he has that ego, because he has that drive, because he put that work in. Because he makes good decisions, not always good decisions. And he's not, I would say personally, if I met Michael Jordan and we hung out, I probably wouldn't care for him. I think he does some stuff that I wouldn't care for. And vice versa. He probably wouldn't hang out with me because I don't have $1 billion. But it's okay. Find your place in life and find out who, it's okay to be that person. We don't complain when we work for a good company and we're doing great as a manager. We don't worry about the owner. The owner does what the owner does. The owner takes all the risks. The owner does all these things. You have to appreciate where you're at in life and just appreciate it. Why insult people? Why go back? So I wasn't, I was kind of irritated about that, but I thought it related to success. If you're going to be moving up in life, he's blaming Michael Jordan for not being the person he wanted to be. Well, he had an opportunity, So if you haven't seen The Last Dance or you don't know who Scottie Pippen is, this means absolutely nothing to you. But I think most of you would know at least the names. Exercise. I put exercise down. Why did I put exercise down? Exercise. Oh, I know why I put it down. Because I was listening to a TED Talks the other day, and this woman was talking about exercise and how 30 minutes of exercise a day releases these hormones or something in your brain, and how much it can change your life just doing a little exercise, just going for a walk for 30 minutes, just, getting on a treadmill, lifting. I hope that you all are doing a regular exercise program. I think it has more to do with your success than you might think it does. And if you're interested in losing some weight, if you're interested in doing this or doing that, understand there's no magic pill for this. There's no magic pill for success. It's hard work, it's commitment, it's taking that time to do what you have to do. So I put that on there because this TED Talks was really interesting. And if you want to know what it is, if you send me an email at edfranklin.nolimits@gmail.com, I'll send you this short set TED Talks, and you can check it out for yourself. Accountability. I mean, we're always talking about accountability. I am, like I said, I'm on this path right now that's making me have to be very accountable for myself. I haven't spoken about it because I don't need anybody to make me accountable. I need to do it for myself. It's going to be worth so much more if you put all the effort in and you're the one that does it, versus having that Scottie Pippen tell you that if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be where you're at. Do it on your own. You know what to do. You already know what to do. Everything's online. You can get educated online. You can do all these things. It's funny with losing weight. I hear so many people telling me about this diet. They're on this 30 thing, and then this one's doing keto, and this one's doing this and that. If you eat right and exercise, you're going to lose weight. You're going to be at the weight, and you may not even want to lose weight. It's up to you. It doesn't matter to me. It's where you feel comfortable in your skin. I am not comfortable in my skin right now where I'm at for my weight, but I know how to get there, and I will get back to that. I'll get back to where I was a couple of years ago, pre-COVID. I've used COVID, like many of you, as an excuse. I could have continued to exercise by just walking or doing push-ups or doing a number of other things that I could have done, and I didn't. I let COVID get to me, like a lot of you did, and let this negativity into my life. And it pisses me off that I burnt up 18 months or more than 18 months on this. And but it's time to stop that. It's time to stop being irritated, stop blaming people, be accountable, and do the things you need to do. I put on here love, hug, slap in my notes. I think about it when I think of those three words, I think of like an Italian grandma, right? Or a parent. So we've had kids that were stayed out too late or, didn't contact us. And when they came home, we were first of all happy that they were safe, right? So you do the hug, right? Or the love. You tell them, look, I love you. I'm so glad you're home. And then you do the hug and say, gosh, don't do that again. And then if you've ever watched NCIS and Gibbs slaps Denozo in the back of the head, we call that the Denozo at home. And that's the next thing you want to do. And I hope this podcast, I hope that I'm doing that for you. I'm going to love you, tell you I love you. I'm going to hug you, and I want to slap you in the back of the head to get you motivated to go do the thing you need to do. And I'm telling you, you know what to do. We have all this information out there, books and, like I said, TED Talks and all these things we have available to us, and we know what to do. We're just not doing it, right? If you're behind, if you're not where you want to be, it's not because of anybody else. Here's a brutally honest statement that I had to kind of wrap my hands around years ago. Understand that if you're my age, a little younger, whatever, not a 16-year-old, but if you're older, 30 years old, understand that you're where you're at because of the actions you've done, the decisions you've made, good or bad. You're where you're at. If you have a lot of money, you've made some good decisions, financially. You've worked in good jobs. You've had that. If you don't have any money, you probably spent all your money or didn't get that job or didn't get educated or didn't get prepared for that next position. So once you can soak that into your head, that you're where you're at in life because of what you've done and what you've failed to do, that's huge. It's empowering. Once you lift that burden off your shoulders of blame, and, it was my mom and dad, it was my wife or husband, it was my kids, it was this and that. I do this shit all the time. I complain all the time about what people did to me. I started this whole thing off with something that happened this weekend. But you got to use that as motivation. You got to use that as fire. You got to light that fire in your ass and go out and do what you want. Listen, this whole podcast, my hope was built around younger people. And some of you younger people need to get off your ass and do some stuff, right? it's not going to happen overnight. There's no magic pill, just like the working out, losing weight, and all those things. There's no magic pill. You need to either stop doing stuff that's harming you or start doing stuff that's helping you. And I'm no different. I'm telling you, I know you can hear the frustration in my voice there, the anger in my voice, because I don't have a Facebook life all the time. Sometimes shit happens and you got to deal with it. You know, I have up here that you can't participate in drama or current events. I mean, Jesus Christ, if the news depresses you, don't turn on the news. I'm one of these people that'll go on my Facebook feed and hit my news button and kind of read about different things that are going on. I look at sports. You got Aaron Rodgers stuff happening. You have this horrible, horrible accident from this football player out in Las Vegas where this young, beautiful woman lost her life and her dog's life because he wasn't doing the right things. He thought he was bigger than life, and now he's probably ruined his life. Gave up a multi-million-dollar contract in football because of one night of going out and partying too much. And how people can't call Uber these days or whatever just blows me away. And he's just lost his entire life. I mean, and this poor family having to deal with losing this 23-year-old girl. It's just so tragic. But he had a choice. He made a choice that night, and it was bad, right? It's just a horrible thing. So, I mean, I'll read things like that, and it just hurts me. I want to pray for that family and pray for that girl's soul. And I just shake my head with these athletes sometimes, not just athletes, anybody that's, doesn't matter, whatever. If they've made this poor decision to, drunk drivers, whatever it is that hurts somebody else, it's a bad decision. And they know that afterwards, but it's too late, isn't it? So that's that participating in this drama shit. I have, having 7 daughters and a son, you get involved in some drama sometimes, and I have to tell them to stop. We were talking last night at dinner with some friends, and we were talking about the news, and they said, we just don't even read the news anymore. It's just so, it's all these things going on. It doesn't matter what the presidency does, what politicians do. Our prices go up, make more money. Prices go down, do whatever you got to do. There's no jobs, find a job, make a job, do whatever you have to do. Don't blame it on anybody else. There's always been problems with politics my whole life. There's always something going on. Some group is not happy with the things that are going on, but you just have to overcome and conquer, right? You just have to get over it. And I know it sounds easy. It's not easy. I'm not telling you it's easy, but plan it out. Little steps, one step at a time, one day at a time. This event that I'm involved with right now with myself is one day at a time. Every time before I go to bed, I make a hash mark. I have a certain amount of days that I'm committed to, and I make a hash mark every day. When I started, there was one hash mark. As I look up here, there's more than one. I'm not going to tell you where I'm at or what I'm even doing. During my Facebook posts, I also said that I had a secret for all of you, and I'm going to tell you that at the end. It's not really a secret. You all know it. I'm just going to bring it up to you, and we're going to talk a little bit about it. So a couple other things. If you're not a sports fan or you don't watch the news or anything, there's a gentleman by the name of Ernie Johnson. He works for TNT, the Turner Network, and they do a basketball show with Charles Barkley, Shaq, and Kenny Smith. And they have a lot of fun on this show, and they talk a lot of it. They have a lot of basketball knowledge up there, and it's a great show. I watch clips of it often on Facebook, and they have very good insight because Charles Barkley and Shaq and Kenny Smith were great basketball players, and they just have good insight. So if you're not interested in basketball, you might not know who I'm talking about. But on the human side of things, Ernie Johnson, years ago, and I encourage you to go to Ernie Johnson's story on YouTube, or Ernie Johnson's son. He lost his son a couple of weeks ago, and I think he was 23 years old. Might have been older than that. But he and his wife adopted this child from Romania, I think. And the person at the adoption facility told them that this boy was no good. Don't adopt this boy. And so they came back from Romania, I think, and the mother, the wife, just says, "Look, I can't leave that child. I mean, he has some health problems and things, but I have to go get him." So I think they went back, or they might have done that while they were there. Watch the video because I don't want to butcher it. But he talked about some stuff that was just heart-wrenching, and I'm watching this thing bawling when he tells this story. And he's such a good guy. I never really paid attention to him because he's kind of the host with these other pro athletes, and he just kind of moderates these athletes talking about basketball. And I really never knew who he was. But this story he has in life, talk about phenomenal love for a child and his family and his wife. And this human, I talk about this value people have as humans, no matter who you are. It's 1 in 4 trillion chance you're even born. And this value that people can add, some humans can add to other humans, is just, you have to look in the mirror and understand how important this is and what value you have out there in life. So he tells the story about this young man, and you have to watch this thing. But he said something that I just thought was amazing. He really loves his job, and he's been doing this job for, I don't know, 30 years or something. And he talks about, he'll go to sports teams and like get them motivated and do this public speaking, and tells a story about his son and how his son united these people at school when he's hardly audible. He's barely audible, but he was able to unite these teams. And when people meet him, he just instantly, you just fall in love with this kid because of his demeanor and his love of life, even though it's not a perfect life by any means. And Ernie Johnson talks about this sentence, and he says, I don't got to go to work. I get to go to work. He loves his job so much. He started using these phrases. And I encourage you to do this too. When you're talking, changing a couple words in a sentence sometimes can change your whole life. And this guy really made me think about my life and how blessed, really, truly blessed I am. I don't have everything that I want personally, physically, but it's okay because I have so much to be thankful for. And I kind of related this sentence to my kids, It's not like I gotta go see my grandkids. I get to go see my grandkids. There's people that don't get to do that. This beautiful soul out in Las Vegas, 23 years old, she'll never have a family because somebody took that away from her from a bad decision. I get to see my wife every day. I don't got to see my wife every day. I don't got to see my grandson or my granddaughter when I pick them up from school. I get to see them. I get to go to Poway or to the beach or those things. It changes the whole attitude of what you're doing. It's not got to, it's get to. And he does a better job than I do articulating it. But it's really just one word switch, right? Versus I got to go to work today or I get to go to work today. Not everybody has a job right now. Not everybody has good jobs. If you have a good job, you get to go to work. And once you can get that mentality in, and that's just repetitive, right? You get to go exercise. Got to go exercise. When you start to get that attitude, it's life-changing. And there's a lot of sentences like that you can, I appreciate many things in my life, but I don't appreciate enough. I can tell you that. I'm thankful. I'm so blessed where I live, in the house I live in, and living in Southern California. I have so much to be grateful for. And frankly, I take it for granted sometimes. And I think all of us do. He said another sentence he said, make someone's day better by being a better human. I fly off the handle, especially when I'm driving. It drives me nuts the way some people drive. And I've even stopped riding a motorcycle because I cannot enjoy it anymore because I'm so worried I was going to get hit. And I don't have any problem handling the bike. I have a problem with somebody, T-boning me or something. But, I've talked about this before. When you're in a store or you're in a situation where you have a lot of humans around, it's just, if you can just be a better person and ignore maybe something somebody did, maybe they've never learned how to do that. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they just lost somebody close to them. There's so many reasons why they could be having a bad day and you could brighten their day. We saw somebody at the gas station at Costco that we've known for years. We've been going to this one Costco for a long time, especially often when we have the kids at home because it's Costco. And we would always communicate. She knew my older daughter, and she now works by the gas pumps. And she came up, and I said to her, honestly, she's a very beautiful woman. And I said, do you age? I mean, are you just getting better looking as you get older? And I just kind of said it off the cuff. My wife was standing right there. And oh my God, you should see the look this woman had on her face. I probably changed her entire day that day by saying that. It didn't cost me anything. I was being honest. She just looked radiant. She looked very beautiful. I mean, you know, if I see a radiant, beautiful guy, I'll tell my wife, look at this guy. I mean, he's got that aura about him. And she did that day. But that one little sentence to her probably changed her entire day. It might have changed her week. She probably went home and told her husband someone said that, And I just think that I'm trying to always be a better human. Now, with that being said, the reason I'm angry is because I think people were shitty humans to me the last couple days, right? Some things were done that I can't even fathom. I'm so angry at these people. And you know what the worst part is? I don't even know who the people are. But they didn't take my advice to be a better human. They said stuff that they shouldn't have said, and it got back to me, and it was the wrong thing to do. Now, ultimately, I'm going to deal with that the way I deal with it and probably just let it go. Interestingly enough, when I was driving to the doctor today, I was just dwelling on this anger. I was just so mad. She probably shouldn't have been driving a car, but I was really thinking about it, and I get behind a guy with a license plate that says forgive on it. Now, if that's not a sign, I don't know what is, but that guy stayed in front of me for probably 5 miles, and I kept looking down at his license plate. So I think that, like I said, this Ernie Johnson, look him up, Ernie Johnson TNT or Ernie Johnson son passed away or anything you can on YouTube, and listen to this story. It's about 6 or 7. There's several of them because he does go around and speak at schools and things like this. And the story I heard was prior to his son passing away. I don't know if he's even spoken since that because it was so hurtful to their family and their community. But this guy's a really good guy, and just a guy out of the blue. He reminds me of a friend of mine that, and now I want to talk to my friend and tell him that this guy reminds me of you because he has those characteristics. So what did we cover today? We covered you got to take care of yourself before you can take care of anybody else. You got to, stop. Don't blame people for what's going on with you. You have control over that. Look, if you're around people that are criticizing you, if you're around people that are not talking positively and things like that. I just posted a meme the other day that said, sit with positive people. The conversation's all different. And it is. When you sit around people that are positive and they're coming up with positive ideas, and they're encouraging each other and things like that, the conversation's completely different. You're not in that negative zone. You're in that positive zone. If you're around those people, you may love those people because their family, cut ties with them right now. Because if you want to get to that next level, you're going to have to not be around those people. You need to be around positive people. You need to be listening to my podcast, other podcasts that are popular out there. You need to be sharing this podcast with your friends so they can get that positivity. I often said, that my kids would not listen to me, but they'd listen to another parent. And I'm hoping I hope that's reciprocating. If you have a child that maybe, isn't listening to you, tune them into my podcast. Maybe I can say something that will resonate with them. You may have said it 50 times, but having been their parent, you're maybe be a little too close. We talked about accountability. Is this word ever going to go away? It's just not. So you might as well just have it. Everything is up to you. Every morning when you wake up, you get to choose what kind of day is going to be. I don't care if you have facing an issue or whatever. You have an ability to change that, to change your approach, to put a smile on your face, to conquer it, to just say, look, this is just another one of those things. We talked about Gibbs and Denozo, that slap in the back of the head, that I love you, give me a hug, and then slap them upside the head. Sometimes you're going to have to slap yourself upside the head to get you out of that mood. I have a thing down here that says Morgan Freeman. I remember he was on a 60 Minutes interview and they asked him about prejudice. And his answer was, stop talking about it. Stop bringing it up every 5 minutes. When I look at an athlete, I don't look at a color of an athlete. I look at a great athlete. When I look at a woman, I don't look at a woman-owned business. I look at a business owner. It doesn't matter if she's a woman, or what color she is or whatever. She's a business owner. It doesn't matter. But we always have to put these monikers, we have to put these tags on people And, I just don't want to talk about it. So I have friends. That's what I call them. That's just friends. It doesn't matter who they are or what they are, you know? So like I said, when I put Morgan Freeman, I remember that interview and he says, look, just stop talking about it. Stop bringing it up. We have great people in the world. That's it. Every human, that's it. Every human has an intrinsic value in life. You do, I do, my grandkids do. Everybody, the most humble person in the world in Africa or India or wherever, they all have an intrinsic value in life. Okay. And you got to understand that, but you got to keep telling yourself that because you feel sometimes like you don't have enough value. You do. I'm telling you. You might have to seek it out a little bit, ask some questions, ask yourself the questions. You'll get answers. We talked about The Last Dance and Michael Jordan and all that. I don't want to get back into that. We talked about making someone's day better by just being a human being, being a good human being, just smiling at somebody. My wife's so happy she doesn't have to wear a mask in the store now because she can smile at people and she has a radiant smile. When she smiles at someone, they instantly smile back. She lights up rooms when she smiles. That's awesome that she can do that, right? And we don't have any issue with, yesterday in church, we were sitting behind this beautiful family, 4 kids. And one of these kids, I know she's like a little troublemaker, but just a little beautiful smiling child. And then the sister was a little smiling baby, and it just lights up lights up the whole day. Made my day better just by sitting behind those kids. They're moving around a lot because they have a lot of energy, and that's what kids are supposed to have. I've had people on our block that live by near us say we apologize for their kids screaming and playing. I'm like, don't ever apologize for that. I'd rather hear kids screaming and playing than I'd listen to gunshots any day. That to me is life. That's energy. That's joy. So my big secret, the big reveal that I talked about, you're going to think it's so stupid, but you know what? It's funny about it. When I did that as a marketing thing, when I did it, I got a lot of likes. I got a lot more likes than I normally do on my Facebook post. Your biggest friend in the entire world is your mirror. And I was going to get business cards that had a mirror on them because every answer to every question you have is in the mirror, right? It's what you decide to do that day. It's what you decide to do that minute. You look in the mirror and you're telling, it's that self-talk. Are you going to tell yourself you're fat and ugly and bald and all those things? Or are you going to tell yourself you have value and that you're better than a situation and that you can do better at what you're doing and you know how to learn about it and you're going to go exercise and you're going to do all these things? Your mirror is the secret to life, right? Every single person, if they just look in the mirror and be a little bit more positive about what they see, they would change their life. It's life-changing. And we have big mirrors in our house. We have a lot of mirrors in the other house. And I used to tell the kids, look in that mirror and smile in that mirror and tell yourself what you're going to do that day. You all have a choice when you wake up in the morning what that day is going to be like. I do, you do, everybody does. Even the kids, when they leave, I tell them too. So we need to be better humans, and to ourselves more than anything. We need to take that mask and put it on ourselves first before we can help anybody else. If we're not operating at 100% or at least close to 100%, we can't help people get to 100%. And I know that's what you want to do. You can tell me all day what you want to do for a living. It all comes down to helping somebody else. I'll almost guarantee it, because if you have character, which I know you do, you want to help somebody else. Maybe it's your kids. Maybe you want to have a bigger house so your kids have more they can enjoy. That's about helping other people. You want something for your wife. You want something for your friends. You want to give money to a charity. It's all about helping more people. The more you have, the more you can give. Okay. The better shape you're in, the longer you can last during the day, the better you feel, the longer you're going to live. All those things are all about looking in the mirror. So really, it's no secret. It's just what you're not doing enough of. And I don't have to know you to tell you that you're not doing enough of it. Look in the mirror and tell me who you see. And if you start talking negatively, change. I know Tony Robbins always says you can just change the way you're thinking just like that. Is it that easy? It's not easy. I'm telling you. It's not easy, but you have a choice. In 12 months, where are you going to be? 3 months, 90 days, where are you going to be in your life from where you're at today? We have the holidays coming up. We have a lot of opportunities to be good human beings. We have a lot of opportunities to see family that we haven't seen in a while. We have a lot of opportunities to do a lot of things. Be that good human. Look in that mirror and smile and tell that person in the mirror that you love them, because that self-love is a big deal. It's part of that value you have in life, right? You have value to yourself too, as well as you do other people. All right. I hope I didn't sound angry. I'm so wound up right now with positivity mostly. The negative stuff just gets me motivated to be more positive, to prove people wrong, to show people that you can really do anything you want. And when I'm at the end of this process that I've told you I've started, we're going to talk about that process. And we're going to talk about what I went through, and I'm taking notes as I go through it. So you'll see in a while what I was talking about. But y'all have the opportunity. This week, just do this one time this week. One time. Take 10 seconds out of your life. Just 10 seconds, not 2 hours, not a whole day, not anything. 10 seconds out of your life this week and compliment somebody you see at a grocery store or convenience store or a gas station. Just say one thing nice. I like your shoes. That's all you got to say. I'm telling you, you'll put a smile on somebody's face. It'll make you feel better. It'll make them feel better. And it'll be the start to you being a better person. I know you all have goals. How do you get to those goals? One day at a time. That's how you get to them. We have all this information that we could ever muster up right in our hand in a phone. And if you need to learn something, how to lose weight, how to exercise, how to, be a better real estate agent, how to do whatever you want to do in life, it's all just a step away. There's a lot of really good teachers out there that can help you. There's a lot of really okay teachers that want to take your money, but I would not do that right out of the gates. I would try to find out as much as I can on my own and rely on yourself. You are the only person you can rely on to do what you need to do on a daily basis, right? If somebody's giving you a hard time, let it go. Get away from them. Get back to your positivity. Go find a mirror. Carry a mirror with you. Look in the mirror in your car, whatever you have to do. You're the one responsible for what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes. So this is the Ed Franklin No Limits podcast. I know I was a little bit on fire today. We have a good guest coming up next week. I won't tell you who it is. But remember, you can always contact me at edfranklin.nolimits@gmail.com. Send me an email. If you want to watch that video of either Ernie or the TED Talks that I talked about, send me an email and I will send it back to you. So edfranklin.nolimits@gmail.com. I appreciate your listening. My listenership's going up. I need you to share this more. I need my numbers to go up. I need marketing help. I need all kinds of stuff that I'm working on. But anything you guys can recommend, I'm totally down with that. Give me positive information. I'll give you positive information back. How's that? So remember, edfranklin.nolimits, iHeart, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts, I'm probably there. And I hope you guys have the most fantastic week. I'll be on next week to do another podcast, whether I'm by myself. I do have a guest coming up. Not sure when I'm going to be able to get him on. But if not, I'll come up with something to get you guys motivated. So get off your ass today. Look in the mirror. Tell that person in the mirror you love them. And have an awesome day. Thank you for listening.